in this chapter, we will talk about how to do multiple regression analysis when we are given qualitative information. So let's try to recap what we've seen in previous videos. Almost all of our discussion in previous chapters has focused on cases where the dependent and independent variables have some sort of quantitative meaning. So whether we are looking at years of education, or we are looking at GPA, or salaries and or wages, whether it's revenues or the amount of water pollution, all of these types of variables capture quantitative information that is useful because the magnitude tells us something. Okay, and then we also saw that we could take the natural logs and also turn the coefficients into percentage changes and things like that. But in this chapter, we are going to focus our attention on qualitative variables and including those in regression models. Okay, so here this could be a qualitative variable could mean whether you participated in a program or not. So let's say there was some kind of a training program on a job and whether you are participating on it. So 0 for not participating, 1 for participating, for instance. Okay, and we could also have other variables such as race or ethnicity, gender, sex, or the region you live in. All of these variables are going to be capturing qualitative information. So the outline of the chapter would be, first we're going to look at how do we describe qualitative information. Qualitative information from the examples that I just described comes in many different forms. So we're going to see how to describe that. We will talk about how to work with a single dummy variable in our regression, and also how do we construct dummy variables when we have multiple categories for a variable, for example, race. We will also introduce interactions that you're familiar with by now in regression analysis and how those would be useful for us. We will talk about cases where our dependent variable takes a 0, 1 value, right? Or becomes a dummy variable. So let's say this is whether you get a job or not, right? So this could be a 0 or a 1 based on some other factors, right? That could affect your the probability of you getting a job. Okay, and then we can assess based on some explanatory factors whether or what effect some sort of policy has on, let's say, your salaries or earnings. And then finally, we will close by talking about discrete dependent variables. So this could be something like fertility, where your dependent variable y only takes values that are discrete. So either you have 0 children or 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 children, right? So fertility is only taking discrete values. And this could also be, let's say, the number of arrests in a year. And again, the dependent variable could take discrete values.